was thinking about when you go somewhere, you can plant a story there, the most boring park, and you plant the most fascinating story there, and then people will want to come back and visit it years later because an interesting story happened there. People will go and visit old movie sets from the 80s. Like, I'd love to go visit some parts of the US for old movies that exist in a world that's in my heart, in my head. It's so funny how people go to the Lord of the Rings movie set and take photos of it. Like, it's just I'm sure it's just a plain old site with a bunch of old props, but people love it. I could never get into Lord of the Rings, but yeah, I find that fascinating. Locations and planting a story there, and suddenly it charges it with magic. I feel like that just sitting out at night and there's a lightning storm, and it feels like the lightning storm flashes ancient stories to the surface like invisible ink that were once there, or that were incredible, and now it's just a plain old beautiful site. Like going to visit my grandparents' place, who died 20 years ago, and their whole house is knocked down, and it's just a boring old flat piece of grass, and they hand built it in the 50s and the 60s, and so much stuff happened there. Now there's nothing there. I find that, yeah, I love the idea of stories and how it can charge places with a kind of a magic. So I love reading stories where there's locations. It feels like part of a shared dream. And there's so many of my favourite writers who have lived in LA or write about LA. I've never been, and there's this sort of common thought that as soon as you try to write about LA, it's immediately changed its skin. It's something completely different. I love about that. That means there's so many stories being written there, and that there's one story replaces the other just as quickly. And I love playing Grand Theft Auto for that reason. Just walking around Grand Theft Auto 5, just walking through those spaces in LA. The smaller version of it, I've heard it's quite anatomically correct, the game Grand Theft Auto 5, to the spaces in LA. Yeah, I remember I used to go to Google Maps and I'd find Charles Bukowski's old house, and then in Google Maps I'd try and walk in inverted commas to the nearest bottle shop, and then try and walk back. That was fun. It's so beautiful. Just how spaces and locations and magic and story all sort of merge. I've had so many thoughts on so many street corners around Melbourne over years and years. Like I'll walk into a suburb I haven't been to ages ago, and walking on a landmine, the thought that I had 20 years ago will explode in my head, and I go, oh my god, I walked through a space where I had this thought from 20 years ago, and it was because I'd planted it here. I love that idea, and I don't really write about spaces. I don't write about, because I love when I read about a space in a book, and it's like that I've been to, and I feel like I can share the same dream with the writer. I remember the only time I travelled outside of Australia was to go to Prague and a bit of Europe in 1999, because Milan Kundera wrote a lot about around there, just to feel the space. For no reason, I wanted to do that, and I was 21 or 22 or something, and it's like trying to touch a dream. It's impossible, but it's the beauty of almost being able to touch it, almost smell it, like smelling the beautiful cooking of a neighbour's dinner as you're going for an evening stroll, and it's incredible, but you can't have it. And it's that can't having it. You can't touch it. It's so beautiful, and I'd love to integrate that more consciously into my own stuff. And I guess that's what I like about a lot of mysteries and like murder mystery kind of style books, is while they're quite pulpy, they the they rely a lot on location, where the body departed from the earth, where the door was created before the spirit left. I love that feeling. And my stuff, a lot of my poetry is so in of the head, and it's not earthed. It's not grounded in in that bricks and concrete and soil and smell and dirt kind of way. And so that's what I don't like about my writing, is it's so airy, it's so of the head. So I'd love to try and write a pulpy mystery, just to almost force myself back in, to literally have my feet on the ground in locations and places, and that would make me feel good. Because yeah, I've been trying to write a third book at the moment. I'm 80 pages in, aiming for 300, to then reduce it to about 180, 190. It's the only way to do it. You got to write double the amount or something, and then squash it all down. Try and squash out the impurities. So I'm writing a third book for 4 months straight, getting up, writing. Nearly all of it's crap, and it's sometimes something good will shine through. And I'm looking forward to the moment that I've got a bunch of ideas all stacked, and then I can just start throwing most of them in the bin. That's the fun part. It's so weird. I don't enjoy the writing part. I enjoy the throwing the crappy bits out. I always feel like the good bits I didn't write. I just lucked them, and the bad bits I wrote. And it's like, that's, yeah. When I was writing You're Going to Be Okay Because You're Fucked No Matter What, and I was getting in the final manuscript, I was putting in some last minute pieces because it's a second edition through Andrews McNeil. I wanted to increase the page count from 130 to 190, and I had to write a whole bunch more. And I thought I'd also take some old ideas that I'd worked on and that could be useful, and reworked them into something where my head's at now rather than where it was at the time. And that was good. But there's some of the new stuff in there I love, but there's also some in it that I go, maybe I shouldn't have put that in there. But the good thing about that book is I flick through it, and there's, of the 190 poems or something, there's only one or two where I go, I probably wouldn't have put that in there. I shouldn't have put it in there. But it's like someone will find it useful or interesting, and that's all that really matters. Like some of the stuff in Mum's book, Darby Love, I thought, oh no, why did I put that in there? And then I see people sharing that exact piece of work on social media. I go, okay, I'm glad that I put it in there. You can't second guess. You just have to just put stuff. Just it's all pure luck of what resonates with other people, what doesn't. But I try to get as much stuff in that I like and has passed some sort of time test, and that I still like. But anyway, I've just totally gone off track from talking about locations, and that's kind of what I love about Mum's book. It felt more grounded in a kind of a reality, talking about smells and the sea and the ceiling and the things Mum lived. But yeah, I'm reading at the moment a book called The Shards by Bret Easton Ellis, and I love it. It's it's LA. It's LA in the early 80s, and it's the first book in ages where I'll be reading for 30 minutes and I'll look up. No, I'll be reading for 5 minutes and I'll look up, and I've been reading for like 30 or 40 minutes. and I'm not time doesn't exist, and it's amazing, and it's kind of a bit of a sort of a soap, like a teenage soap opera mixed with mystery, but it's based in LA with all the songs and sounds of that time. I read American Psycho a few years ago, and I didn't love it. There was some passages in it that kind of talked to dissociative kind of vibes, and it was just like, oh, that's so beautiful, that passage. But now he's like 57, writing about his formative years in Hollywood or LA at the age of 18, and I feel like I know the place. I'm sharing the dream with him, and he's very much into talking about dreams and the two different kinds of realities. Almost a bit David Lynch as well. David Lynch is another guy from LA. Charles Bukowski. But yeah, I'm so happy that I read American Psycho. Went, I don't need to read any more of Bret Easton Ellis, and then stumbled across the shards and went, now I've got to read all of his stuff. So I've just been watching an interview with him this morning and going, I like him even more. But anyway,